The Bible's got all kinds of animals, including a talking donkey. It's basically one ogre away from being Shrek. Why does the Bible... Oh.
Man, you went into Seinfeld there. What's the deal with the animals in the Bible? I know.
Why do Christians believe in talking animals? It's the Why Do Christians podcast.
He did a full Seinfeld.
Sure did. All right. Hey, welcome to the show. My name's Mark Dickey. I host the afternoon show on the Bridge radio station. My co-hosts are two pastors in the southern Delaware area. Pastor Burt Miller from Solid Ground Church.
Hello there.
Lewes.
Yeah.
Pulling an Obi-Wan.
Well, I feel like there's been a lack of Obi-Wan in this show.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and
how many times? I don't know how many episodes we've done at this point, but if ever there needed to be a montage of anything, like a power montage, it would just be like me trailing off with something and Mark going, all right. Well,
anyway,
that bit went nowhere. Okay. Yeah. Sounded better in your head, didn't it?
My other co-host is Pastor Josh Dupiche of Hope Church. How's it going?
It's going great.
Very good.
That was
What?
Yeah, what
that
happened?
was Darth Vader. I was
Okay.
trying to keep it. No.
Just trying to James Earl Jones?
Yes.
A little bit?
Did I get it?
No.
No. Oh.
There are a few voices you should not try to imitate unless you can just, you can go 100%.
Let's go.
Yoda is one of them.
Okay.
Like, Bert, give me a Yoda.
I'm not going to.
See?
No.
I know.
See? You learned from Josh's
I
mistake.
made an idiot out of myself already in this episode. I'm not your monkey. I'm not your chimp here doing the dances for.
Yeah.
No.
I think Smeagol from Lord of the Rings.
I can do that one.
No,
There you
you
go.
can't.
I can.
Can you do? All right, let's hear it. Let's go.
Well, I'm not going to now.
I was like on edge waiting for it.
All right.
do you-
Well, speaking
Do
of...
you want me to do? I'm like that's guaranteed. Like I don't know if we track YouTube metrics where like when people stop listening or watching.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, I do. If I do the Smeagol, what's going to happen is the moment I do it, just boom, you're gonna watch them just fall.
All right, if you're
gonna
wearing
happen.
headphones, you might want
Take them out. Take them out. Yeah. Oh, dude, now I can't. I'm in my own head. I've never had a problem doing that
Would
impression.
you say you're Gollum now?
I'm self-conscious is what I am.
Okay.
I'm self-conscious.
We support you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if this is someone's first Why Do Christians...
Precious.
All right, pretty good. Pretty
That was
good.
good.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a 91%.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Because the top 90 percentile is the only people who should even try that voice.
Okay.
So very good.
Thank you.
Very good. It was better than the bare minimum.
Okay. It's better than if I didn't do it. That's what you're saying.
But speaking of funny voices, there are 1,000,001 movies with talking animals in them. And the Bible has talking animals in it. And that's the just topic of discussion today.
Yeah.
And I asked you guys to come prepared with your favorite talking animal movie.
Penguins of Madagascar. That's it. I love it.
Okay.
I could watch it. It makes me love penguins. I didn't know I loved them before that movie. And the fact that they can just slap each other so much just does it for me. It's Penguins of Madagascar. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Bert?
Well, I mean, I think the classic Homeward Bound, The Incredible Journey, it's up there. Yeah.
Bert, that was the one I picked.
Oh, no.
No.
But only because I believed that I thought I was specific enough that it had to be real animals in the
Yeah.
movie.
Oh.
But
Are
penguins
penguins
are
not
fine.
real?
No,
Okay.
like not animated movie.
Can I ask you, all right, so how
Like
many,
we put peanut butter in this dog's mouth before we hit record.
oh,
And
Mr. Ed. This is the horse. Hold on. Can I ask you, all right, how long have you been a father now? How old?
6 years.
Okay. Josh, you?
Good question. 9 years.
Okay. Are you sure? The way you just said that.
Yes.
Why are you saying things like that?
9 years. Yes.
You're
9
looking
years.
around so your wife is going to pop out from somewhere and just be like, no, it's 7 years. Like,
It's happened.
Oh, okay.
9 for sure. Yeah.
okay, here's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Have you had to endure through any of the Buddies movies?
Yes.
It's rough, isn't it?
Space Buddies.
Oh,
Seen it a lot.
I'll get you.
Whew.
Super Buddies?
Did you ever watch Air Bud?
Yes. Man, that's taking me back.
Yeah. So they made Air Bud World Pup, which I believe was a soccer one. There was
right.
Air Bud There was a football one. That was the only other one that went to theaters, I believe. The rest of them have been direct to DVD. And
Airbud UFC. He was in the octagon. It was brutal.
That was, sounds
You haven't
terrible.
lived till you've seen a golden retriever do a takedown.
I'll drive someone. I
smash that like
I
button.
didn't know I needed to see that.
They found their stride by making Air Buddies, which are the puppies.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of talking puppies.
It's a complete genre change too,
Yeah.
right? Like original Airbud, kind of grounded. It theoretically could have a dog could shoot a basketball
yeah.
with enough incentive
they
and
could ride
training.
skateboards.
I think the dog actually did do that though. I don't have the intel on that, but I'm pretty sure. But anyway,
Yeah.
like okay, it's a dog. He's not talking. He's not doing anything, and he later on he starts a family,
Mm-hmm.
but his kids can talk.
Oh,
And so they just completely shift genre and they get superpowers or they go to space.
I have seen a superpower one too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, okay. All right. Well, let's talk about the Bible a little bit. Well, it's funny because we, as anyone who believes anything, but especially Christians, we've likely spent our whole Christian life or our whole lives defending this thing that we believe, and we attribute the idea of talking animals to that's ridiculous. That's for the movies. That's a kid's thing. And
That's
yet,
a bad movie.
I'm going to skip that movie.
Right.
Yeah. But there are instances of talking animals in the Bible, and it's kind of at first it feels like, oh no, can we not talk about the talking animals? Like I want to have a serious conversation about faith here.
Are you, sir, inferring that the passages with talking animals are somehow embarrassing in some way? Is that
When when anything crazy happens, okay, you're already looking at me like, what do you mean crazy?
come on? That's fine.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's not my job to maintain here at the bridge. Go on. Like
It's different.
uh-huh.
It's weird. And it's one of those Bible passages that people go, oh yeah, that's in there. But let's talk about Jesus.
Okay. All right. Josh, you're strangely silent today.
I was still hoping we talked about the penguins, but anyway, since we do have talking
No penguins
animals.
in the
Wait,
Bible.
did you like write up a thing on the Madagascar penguins that you were excited to go into?
I watch clips all
Okay.
day preparing for this moment. Okay, I didn't.
You want to give us some
I
penguin?
did.
Do you want to give us some penguin factoids?
And then I said penguins, and it was like, oh no, real animals. I was hurt. I just didn't want to mention it, but I was hurt.
What do you mean they're not real?
Hold
Right?
on.
What do you mean? Yeah, they were real to me.
Do you want? We can talk more about the penguins.
No. It did raise a question for me, a biblical one.
Okay.
Okay. Did
Why would,
Balaam's donkey sound like one of the penguins from Penguins of Madagascar?
or did he sound like Eddie Murphy?
Or sounds like Eddie Murphy? I mean, no one's ever thought about it. What did he sound like? Because, right? I mean, he must have had like some human, thing when Balaam hears him. He's not like, my donkey's talking. I'm freaking out. Like, no, I want to have a conversation with this guy. Like,
Can we get? Is there like an AI Eddie Murphy where we could take the scripture from what the donkey says?
Yeah, we probably have to pay for it. Oh. All right. So
Am I not Joe? Sorry, I can't.
or was
Which you have always written to this day. Sorry, I'm going more Chris Rock than Eddie Murphy.
yeah.
Well, maybe like an English, How are you?
Liam Neeson donkey.
Haven't I always been doing the things you want?
Okay. I like. Let's workshop
Let's go with
this,
that.
John.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So you got English. I got Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy, really Chris Rock. Okay. All right. You want me to do the Gollum with it while we're at it?
Yeah, dude, if a donkey spoke like
Oh my
Gollum,
gosh.
I'm out.
What is it? I forget.
Let's see. Am I not your own donkey?
Not your own donkey, precious.
Okay.
That probably sounds great. in your AirPods if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Just audio.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I could take us where we probably get to
Should
some
go?
point. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Are you
Yeah.
good moving on from the Madagascar?
I'm still
penguins?
hurt. I'm just gonna suffer.
If we all wore tuxedos for the next episode,
I would love you
would you
all.
feel
Do you have a favorite penguin?
You know, I don't know their names. I feel bad now.
Do they
but
have names?
I don't know. I like the fact that they slap each other so much, and they all just take it. It's like, and then they slap other animals too. It's like great. Like if life was like this, I don't think we'd be at peace. But anyway,
that's
so-
why we sit just far
Just
enough
far
that
enough
we
that we
can't
can't
slap each other.
Okay, so but yes, it is one of those things that come up when someone who's kind of interested in the Bible or interested in God struggles with, like,
Yeah.
like what should I do with this talking donkey? Or like, I mean, is that realistic? Is that it kind of gives a more mythical picture or image of the Bible, and not really like the Word of God. It's like,
Yeah. I hear
oh,
what you're
someone
saying.
obviously made this up because there's
Yeah, but okay,
talking
but
snakes, talking donkeys.
Can we really, like, with the Balaam story? Right, what was it? Numbers? Is that where it is?
Yeah, Numbers 22.
Numbers 22. Okay, so only time in the Bible a donkey talks, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the story is meant to not be normative, to teach a worldview where animals talk, right? Okay, no. I mean, just
Yeah.
we agree. But what's weird to me is in the story, Balaam doesn't react to the fact that a donkey is talking. You know, like he's so mad. So like he's on like, if you don't know the story, like, so
Not now, Arctic Puffin.
that's right. So like he's on the road. There's an angel with a sword drawn. The donkey can see it. He can't. So the donkey keeps trying to get away from the angel. And Balaam gets so mad the donkey's going off the road. He starts beating the donkey, right? At which point the donkey turns around and is like, "Would you stop?" Right? I mean, essentially, right? And like, or he's like, "Haven't I been?" And Balaam's his response is like, "Yeah, you like." He affirms the donkey's been a good donkey. At no point is he ever like, "What?" Like, this donkey is talking. She's like, "Yeah, you've been great. Now get back on the road." Like, that detail is really weird to me because nothing about the story is normative. So what was Balaam's life that he's just rolling with it as though there's nothing to see here, like donkey talking and it's a little bit breezy out today. Like it's just odd.
Yeah, you know, that raises a good question about maybe like worldview,
Okay.
about how people thought about the world and miraculous events happening. That it's not impossible. So if something miraculous happens, maybe I should just go with it. Maybe something is happening here, and I should. And I wonder if we've kind of like lost that or pushed away from that. And so that if something like that were to happen, we're just strictly like, let's science this up, because otherwise I'm just losing my mind, because there's just no way, right?
Well, I kind of think we have, like, and I don't know. I feel like we are selective in our embrace of the supernatural. So, like, for many of us, we would hear the stories of Balaam's donkey or the snake in Genesis 3, which, by the way, has a whole significance. Maybe we should talk about today, because I mean, there's just a lot there. with
Yeah,
that.
I mean, talking snake. matters. Yeah.
But like, something to realize. So we look at that and we're like, oh man, look, it's this little fable. I can't believe anyone actually believes this. But we believe ridiculous supernatural things all the time, right? So like the atheist who believes that the Earth, the universe kind of exists on its own and accounts for life on Earth. I'm not saying every atheist believes this, but I've known some who, right? Where did humanity originate? Well, an alien rock hit the Earth and there was goo on it, and that has evolved into life. Well, that's a bit of a leap.
Right.
Right. I feel like that's an incredible rock to get with that kind of precision in a place where, okay, but there's that, or even like, common American spirituality. Like, I've been around enough folks who, when they go through grief, will be like, they're desperate for signs of their loved ones still communicating with them in the here and now. It's like, oh man, like I'm having a really rough day, and so sent a cardinal because they know that I love cardinals. Yeah, and also cardinals exist.
Yeah.
Like, but that is itself a supernatural view. That is like a jump in logic of I'm embracing something that I can't quite see. I don't necessarily have evidence for it, but I just choose to believe it. I think it's important to realize, because what can happen is we can throw the dagger at the Bible and say, look how immature that people would make these jumps in logic because of something that makes me uncomfortable with the supernatural, when the truth is everybody has some kind of belief in the supernatural. We might be selective in it. We might not choose to give credence to it, but everybody's got it. So like, why is it, all right, this one, because I don't like the place that it happens, is untrue, but this thing here, because I'm more comfortable, is true. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It reminds me a bit of, I think we talked about this before, like empiricism, where we're like, we need evidence. Like, right, we need to touch, see, be able to duplicate this in some magical lab somewhere that I've never seen. I'm still looking for that lab, by the way. But that's another thing. But what I feel like people tend to do is when they look at that story of Talking Donkey and go, oh, those people back then weren't as smart or weren't as critical about things in life as we are today. Like we know how to look for evidence, and we know, but they didn't. And I don't find that. I feel like we use evidence to disprove like the supernatural. Mm-hmm. Whereas they use the same empirical evidence, touch, see, feel, like to say, no, that was supernatural, if it makes sense. So for example, you get like, I think, 1 John, where it says that the people, after seeing Jesus do all these miracles by like just getting a ton of bread, a ton of food, feeding thousands of people, say, oh man, I saw this, I experienced this. This is not normal. Obviously, this man has some supernatural abilities and power. Also, in John 6, I love in 1 John 1, where John says, like, we saw, we tasted, we touched him, we heard him, we saw him. To use that to say, no, this is enough evidence to say that supernatural things do happen. And so, anyway, long story short, like, I look at that story and go, well, he saw it. He experienced it. For us nowadays, we say, no, that's crazy. That didn't happen. Well, the same things would apply right now if a donkey starts talking to me. Right. Right. I would saw it. I would see it. I would hear it, and I would high five that guy. I would want to know. I have so many questions for a talking donkey, but
what voice did it use?
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, all that say, I think we tend to. It
sounded like my mother. Whoa, buddy, you got a lot of things to unpack there.
Yeah, I think we like dismiss them by saying that they wouldn't have done the same due diligence that we would do.
What you're referring to is what C.S. Lewis called chronological snobbery. The idea is, okay, because a group of people didn't have an iPhone, it means they were somehow less rational or
thoughtful.
Yeah. Which, when you think about it, is kind of ridiculous of a belief system. Like, all of us, what we enjoy technologically comes from us standing on the shoulders of others who came before us.
I mean, I would say that in the last, 200 years, the sheer leaps and bounds that have been made for us culturally, you could see how we got there. To go from inventing a car 150 years ago or so to I have a computer in my pocket, like that is what I could talk to somebody face to face on the other side of the planet, like that. We've grown so much as a society, as a culture, that, I mean, well, all of these things can be proved. We've found cures to things, and so
but they can be proved except for when they can't.
Right.
Like, okay, who denies the existence of dark matter? Right. I mean, like,
what I'm saying is, you can see how people get there.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we're in a time of plenty. Right. I became type 1 diabetic a couple years ago, and I kind of jokingly say it's the best time to be diabetic because 100 years ago they discovered insulin, and they didn't discover it. Sorry, they invented artificial insulin.
Okay, they didn't find a tree somewhere.
We found it. It's
Why does this tree have like needles hanging off of it?
It's the Marvel scene. The guys in the desert We found it.
Okay.
No, but like it's the best time to be a diabetic because we have all this technology. We like if
I'm sorry, I've never heard of somebody say it's the best time to be a diabetic.
Best time. Call now.
Okay.
No, but like as a cult, like I genuinely believe someone's gonna find a cure for this in my lifetime because of how fast things are moving.
Yeah.
And so when you are subjected to that your entire life, oh, there's smart people everywhere. Like there's no talking donkeys anywhere. The Bible must be ridiculous.
Right. Well, that's okay. So what you're referencing is a worldview that essentially is what's called post-Enlightenment rationalism, right? So you have the Enlightenment where basically what would happen is there was methodological doubt. You've got things where we were trained to be skeptical of the supernatural, right?
Yeah.
So what we do is we link if something is spiritual because it, like what you're saying, Josh, like where like it needs to be quantified. There needs to be a lab where it can be empirically observed. If I can't do that, it means something doesn't exist. Now, the problem is that rationale has so many leaps, right? Because there are all kinds of things that, the secular humanist will embrace with a leap in faith, assuming that we'll find it later.
Right, like the human mind,
Yeah.
love. I mean, these put it in the lab. I couldn't, but we know they are true existing things that we can interact with. I can have a mindful conversation and my heart could be broken, right? In that sense. Absolutely. We can't put them in the lab, but we know those things exist.
Yeah. And what can happen is like we because of this, we treat the supernatural with an inherent skepticism because what we actually at our core believe is essentially, I don't know if it's that we think that we're smarter, it's that we think we've been more educated. So essentially, like, man, if somebody believes in a spirit, a demon, a supernatural entity, it's a podunk backwater hick or somebody from a place in the world who doesn't have the educational system that I have. Because if they knew how the world actually works, they wouldn't assume these things.
Right.
To which I want to go, hold on, like that's a Western mind. Like if we're going to just compare intelligence for a second here. All right, let's just go. Okay. I think most of us would have no difficulty saying that if you were to look at Japan and say, man, they've got some great technology, I think we would be on the same page, right? Like Japanese scientists, pretty cutting edge, right? And like they're
cutting edge.
Okay, like very well educated, very, very intelligent, yeah. Okay, the Japanese, like, okay, but they're from an Eastern worldview, they have no problem with the idea of the supernatural. Now they have a completely different spirituality than we have, but like believing in malevolent spirits or, there being supernatural factors behind things. That's part of life for them. They believe it, even though they're as educated as we are. But what's happened is they haven't experienced the post-Enlightenment rationalism that we did. So they don't go towards the supernatural with a firm skepticism that we do.
Speaking of supernatural, of demons, we did actually a few years back on the Why Do Christians podcast do an episode, Why Do Christians Believe in Demons? And so that one was just Pastor Burt and I, but we did a deep dive. And so if you clicked on this, because like, talking animals,
And he said it just like that.
Talking animals. How many people can I upset at one time?
Talking animals, forget about it.
The talking animals. If you clicked on this and you're like,
Was it Chicago?
I don't know. I think it was more
Talking
Boston.
animals.
Talking animals.
Okay.
If you clicked on this episode,
Good night, talking animals.
because that's a funny thought for you. And demons are also a thing where you're like, I don't know what I believe about demons. Great episode to check out on the Why Do Christians podcast.
Shameless plug. All right.
But the question has to be asked then, if it's hard to receive these stories, why does God use stories like this? Why does he talk through animals?
Well, I mean, I think one thing, and Josh, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, or if you've got a different thought, I would love to hear it. But like this, to say, all right, like, why does God use this? This affirms that the only thing God can use is something that fits within my worldview. Right. So, like, I mean, how small of a God do I believe in if he only behaves in ways that I think are right and good? To believe, I think it was C.S. Lewis again in his book on miracles, where he's responding to David Hume, who has just an inherent skepticism towards the supernatural. Basically, his argument is if there is a God who invented the laws of physics, he can manipulate them however he sees fit, right? Like because he's above all of it. So to believe in God is to believe in the supernatural. And yeah, there may be times where creation has rules that it adheres to for order, and certainly we would all affirm that. It's just that you can't say, all right, because those rules within creation exist, God has no ability to break them, when in fact, if he made the creation and the rules, he's clearly more powerful than all of them.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Also, to add to that, I think you could say that God does these things throughout the Bible where it's just meant to shock you. I think, like to make you stop and pause and go, whoa, like what is the meaning behind this? And I think you can find a few meanings. One, it's, I think, a display of how awesome and how great and how awesome God is, in the sense of like his power is beyond anything.
Like Exodus with the judging the gods of Egypt.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just beyond anything that we can fathom. And I think, I think that's definitely one. And two, just to you could get so much about the meaning behind these, what seems like magical, fanciful stories, if that's a word, is how far God is willing to go to save someone from destruction. And I think if you approach those stories like that, there's this greater meaning behind this. God is not just trying to display his power just to show, hey, look, I can make a donkey talk. It's that God is also speaking through it, saying, hey, look, there's something so much greater going on here that you should pay attention, listen, take a pause, pull back, and like find out what the depth of this conversation is, to the effect that it makes us kind of go back and slow down and pay attention.
Let's talk about, we've talked a lot about the donkey. Let's talk about the serpent.
Okay.
I double checked Genesis 2, but it starts at Genesis 3 very abruptly. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God made. He said to the woman, did God really say you must not eat from the tree in the garden?
Yeah.
So the serpent.
Right.
I actually, in doing this episode, I'm realizing, is there a spot where it says that it's Satan?
No, it's traditionally viewed as Satan. There are a few things to know with that passage. First would be this, that the word that we translate as serpent there is the Hebrew word nachash.
Bless you.
All right. It means, it means snake, but it can also mean shining one.
Huh.
In fact, like you see it used in Daniel 10, I want to say 6, where he's talking with an angel. It says it like he had a face like burnished bronze, like glowing bronze. And the word that we translate there is like the burnished there. That's the same word, like nakash. So, like, is there anything in the text that would say, hey, we shouldn't read this as a serpent? No. In fact, the curse that happens as a result, where on your belly you will go, would indicate that we are dealing with a serpent. It's just that it's more than a serpent, right? That like the way that this thing is spoken about is such that it's meant to draw your attention. That like there's a reason that they listen to it. Like so the author. I guess what I'm saying is the author of Genesis doesn't just when he writes that narrative, he's not treating it as though, oh yeah, snakes talk.
Okay. I think that's what you're saying. So then so looking at both stories, you can get this bigger picture, right? You have, in the talking donkey, you have God doing something to this animal that makes him be able to talk and stop and keep someone alive. But in Genesis 3, so we in a sense have a snake, but we have another spirit doing something upon that snake that makes him able to talk, that leads people to die. So like you have these two usages of these animals, but they're by a greater spirit, and the effects are very different, right? Is that what's happening? So then yes, there is a physical animal, but there's more to that physical animal, right? It's not just like in other words, it's not just like the donkey's talking.
Okay,
there's a spirit working in that donkey, in a sense, like not in, but like
yeah, I know what you're saying, but even then, like, okay, it gets tricky. All right, like so. Let me rewind. Genesis 1-3 is a really, really tricky passage.
Absolutely.
Okay. Like with the repetition in the creation narrative and stuff like that, that kind of looks like poetry, but doesn't necessarily follow formula of Hebrew poetry in Genesis 1. But then like there's also weird wordplay happening. So Marky referenced Genesis 3:1 where it says like, right now the serpent was more, we'll translate it crafty, right? Mm-hmm. The word that we translate as crafty there is the Hebrew word arum. And what's interesting about that word right there with the serpent is if you go back one verse to the end of Genesis 2, it says, all right, like now the man and his wife, it says were naked and felt no shame. Mm-hmm. Right? The word that we translate as naked there is arum. Huh. So it's a play. Like you're meant to be like, hold on, what? Okay, in other words, you're dealing with an entity who also kind of reflects this, I mean, nakedness, yeah, but it's more than that. Like there's an intelligence, there's somehow an image of godness in it. So naked might not mean within that pre-fall world what it means to us now. So like there, and I don't have a clear like, all right, and so here's why that's like there's so much like scholarship done on that. I just can't adequately explain it other than to say that narrative in Genesis, we'll just say the end of 2, but 3 especially, is way more complicated than we give it credit.
Okay.
So it's not like, you know what, I sit down and I read my kid a book about a talking dog, and it's meant to be just a talking dog. Like everything in that narrative is so dense theologically.
So what I'm hearing is, at least what I'm hearing, is that Genesis is so dense. It's like, bro, the snake talking is what hung you up.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there's so much going on.
Yeah, look, Satan, the devil, all of these things in Scripture. Let's acknowledge first of all that Satan is not a name in the Bible. Right? Like Satan means adversary. Like Satan is a transliteration, like meaning like translation, like you take a word in a different language and you just pop it into your language without translating it. That's Satan. This entity that we talk about doesn't really have a name in the way that, hey, you're Mark, I'm Burt. Like it's just this enemy of our souls. And so you can find in Revelation, it'll be like, hey, the devil, that old serpent. And so it's not wrong to link the serpent with the devil, but in the same way I would say it's a mistake to go, hey, because the word devil doesn't show up in Genesis 3, that means it wasn't the devil. Like, no, it can be, but also the on your belly you will go can have to do with humiliation, have to do with a fall. Like there's so much. Okay, like is the serpent indicative of what God has done to Satan because of the fall? Like there's so much there than to just be like, all right, hey, talking snake, weird. I can't believe you guys believe that. Well, like I don't know who said it, but there's just a popular phrase that I've heard more and more over the last few years than maybe ever, which is the Bible was written for you, but it was not written to you. Right. And so there's all kinds of stuff that I, as a 21st century Westerner, approach it with, where I'm putting my modern reading sensibilities on a text that was not written to be read the way that I read something.
I don't want this to become the episode where we said we were going to talk about talking animals and then it became all about Satan.
Yeah, sure.
But you said he didn't have a name, and at least culture taught me that his name is Lucifer.
No, Lucifer is also transliteration. It means Was it Morning Star? I think Son of the Dawn,
So,
something
yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I thought somebody's going to be commenting about
Right.
So, okay.
Looking back, like when I've had people ask me questions, it's been like, how do you expect me to believe the Bible when there's a talking animal in it? Like that's like a kid's movie. So,
What would you say to that?
well, I mean, kind of like I would say is, oh, there's a bigger picture there. Like don't get hung up on the story at face value if you're missing the greater purpose of this story. And usually then I would share like here's what the greater purpose is, and that tends to do it for people. And I would just make the point like you struggling to believe this doesn't take you away from you having to make a decision whether you are entrusting Jesus or not. Like you will come back to these stories over and over again, but that doesn't take away from is God who he says he is? Like are you going to believe him or not? And to be honest, I try to make real sense of it. I mean, a talking donkey, like you gotta.
I feel like most people new to their faith or on the fence of trusting God have been in that situation where they're like, all right, God, if you're real, and then they, fill in the blank, whatever you're up to, then make this happen, make that happen. And I feel like a talking donkey is not that tall of an order. It's like, God, you created everything. Like,
yeah. Okay. But hold on. You know what I want to know? All right. So if you're approaching the Bible and you're going, all right, I can't believe it because of this. My question would be, why does that story prick your heart in the way that it does? Or what is it about the Bible that you don't want to be true? Like, because again, I think we believe stuff all the time that if we're pressed on, I don't know, I believe that. So what is it? I mean, if you're dealing with a book that says God made everything from nothing, hey, that your salvation in Christ doesn't rest on any of your efforts, but God. So not only did God make everything, but also God does all the saving, and all you can do is ask him to save you. All right. So like everything seems to be completely outside of your scope anyway. Hey, when you die, it's not really the end, even though everything that you've experienced in this life says it's the end.
Right.
And I mean, there's good reason not to believe that, but just in terms of if that's how you're choosing to perceive the world, like why is it that one detail, or is it really like, no, is there something else that's not being said right here?
So I see. So like there's some form of unbelief, like festering almost, like, and it's looking for something to go, see, that's it. That's the reason why I shouldn't believe.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I shouldn't take this seriously. But in reality, like you're saying, I mean, just the thoughts of like heaven and new body. I mean, these
everything
are,
about it.
Right. Yeah. These are huge things, much more bigger than a talking donkey.
Yeah.
But yes, we
literally, like our book ends with God killing death.
Yeah.
Like literally like killing death.
Yeah.
You're cool with that part of it, but a snake talked. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you say. So there's festering some unbelief in our hearts that we're prone to look for anything and make a bigger deal of those things, when literally they make up a few verses in this massive book, but our hearts just want reasons to not trust him. Is what that sounds like.
Yeah, and I don't mean to be accusatory right now, because I think all of us
do that. I think
all of us do that.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, I want the Bible to be true. I do. I think it is. I think there's good evidence for it. But at the end of the day, the evidence is not what swayed me. The evidence is not what swayed me to become a Christian. What swayed me to become a Christian was an experience I had. All right. And you can say, well, see, that's why I can't believe in your faith, because, and yet if I were to say to you, why don't you believe? Well, because I need something that I can quantify. What you're doing right now is you're comparing what's true to your experience as well. Like all of us do that.
Yeah.
So my question is, why is it that two verses or two passages out of 66 books? Why are those the make or break?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Or hey, okay. All right. Well, I don't believe in a literal ark so somebody put all the animals on an ark. Okay, well, there's all kinds of interpretation around that. But also, again, death being murdered. Like why is that the thing? And you can say, well, because it's immature to think. Not if there's a God. What are we basing that off of?
Yeah.
Man, I think too we tend to put our like ideas over those stories. So in sense of like what we think about, usually when you're thinking about a talking animal, you're thinking fanciful story, kids story, and then what people do without looking into those stories and their meaning and their purpose and their direction and what they do to the bigger arc of humanity, like how they affect human actions and choices. We just throw all that away and approach the story like, oh, it's a talking donkey, then it's got to be saying something stupid. Like, like there's no real point to this. There's no, but there is. When you look deeply, you find the fall of humanity, like how evil comes into the world. You find here's this guy who's arguing with this donkey because that's the only way God can talk to him. Because every other way where God has been clear, he refuses to listen, and now God has to pick something that's wildly out of human experience to talk to. I mean, just the picture there. I mean, just it's anyway. Long story. It's more than just this wild kids image.
Yeah, and that's the other thing with the Bible, though. Like, when I hear people say things like, "Oh, it's this archaic book," and I can't believe that you believe in this fairy tale. Like, do you have any idea the literary geniuses of the people who wrote this script? Like the way that they interconnect wording, the way that they like their ideas written over 1,600 years across different continents, like line up with each other. Like, I mean, just the ability that happens. Like, so, and the poetry of it, the narratives of it, like the way all the, I mean, to understand how well this book is written. If you're just like, oh, well, it's a bunch of mythology, man, you just don't know what you're talking about.
You're missing it.
Yeah, you're absolutely missing it.
I feel like the only way to conclude this talking animals conversation is to imagine if we were talking to animals. Go with me on this.
Okay.
I'm ready.
You go home to your dog and you you go home to your dog tonight and you have the ability to communicate with it and it understand everything you're saying.
Like Dr. Dolittle?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Can I understand him?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a boy dog. I said
explain to your dog what your job is. If you do accounting, like, wait, you do what all day? That doesn't exist. No, you feed me and we lay around the house and then you go away for a while, but then you feed me at night. Like trying to explain that to someone who doesn't have the scope or the reference of what you do.
Yeah.
Like, now just go up a level. It's not you talking to your dog, but it's God talking to you. And you have no clue what he's capable of. And so when something weird happens that you don't understand, just recognize that you're not God. And I'm thankful I'm not, because I don't know how to put the universe back together.
Yeah. Well, and to not scapegoat it, I guess my other question would just be, all right, like, for how many times in life, I don't know if you've ever gone through a major change of thought where, hey, I believe something firmly and then I start to think it might not be true. I've had that happen. And what I've learned about the way that I think, and maybe I'm weird, but I don't think I am, is you reach a place where when you're confronted with evidence, you go from, I don't want this to be true, to maybe I don't think this is true, I don't think this is true comes from I don't want this to be true, and then you kind of shift to this might be true, to okay, I think this is true. If you're never confronted and challenged by something, so that you just go like, I don't think this is true, but really what's behind it is I don't want it to be true. You're being intellectually dishonest with yourself because you're not actually interested in truth at all. you're interested in maintaining, getting something. I mean, there can be any number of reasons. And you know, when it comes to the validity of the Bible, I don't believe in it because there's a story about a snake or a donkey that talk. For me, what resoundingly says, all right, I think this is true. And again, that comes from it started with personal experience, but personal experiences don't hold you through life. Like if you never examine the faith, you're probably not going to last in it. But what brings me back again and again is not the fantastical stories of an ark or talking animals. It's the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The thing the Bible says, if it's true, be a Christian. If it's not, don't be. Like the Bible literally just makes it that abundantly simple. And I think the observable evidence for the resurrection of Jesus is so overwhelming that we are forced to be confronted by the testimony of Scripture in a way that other faiths, other books, things that are written hundreds of years after the fact, don't.
Yeah, I was thinking about, of all the animals on the planet,
Here he went.
the one that would be great at preaching the gospel would be a fish.
Okay.
You know why? Because it would like repeat itself. That's all it would do. Short-term memory. It would just like Nemo, you know, like.
We
did you
finally
know-
answered the age-old question of which animal would preach
Yeah.
the gospel the best.
And you know what? If you remember, that was the first sign of Christendom. You know,
Oh, shoot, he's
Makes
right.
sense. Yeah, deep stuff, right? I was
Okay.
like, the fish are speaking, bro, and they're saying the same thing. Jesus, Son of God, He died and rose for your sins. Did I tell you that? Let me tell you again. Jesus, that's the fish. Anyway,
Hey, thanks for joining us on this episode all about talking animals. And we'd love to hear your suggestions for future episodes. Let us know in the comments below or email podcast@wearethebridge.org. Thanks for listening.
Did you tell him to smash the like button?
Smash the like
Hit the bell
button.
icon?
Hit the bell.
What else do you do?
Uh,
Do you subscribe?
yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know?
Do you
Subscribe.
leave ratings? Do the people still do that?
Oh, the
thumbs
thumbs
up.
up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs
Okay.
up.
Hit like? Is that what that is?
Like.
Is there an
I don't
do you
think so.
emote? Can you emote?
Oh, yeah. If is there a donkey emoji?
yeah,
Just spam
No.
the comment section with that.
yes,
Yeah. No serpent emojis, though.
yeah, we don't like that guy.
Thanks for listening.